Hello, Ace Nation, and welcome to the Stuido One Podcast here on the Ace Network on YouTube.com/Ace Wrestling. I, of course, am Cheyenne Ortiz. So much to cover, including CrossRoads 11 that happened here at the Morgan Jr. Arena on November the 5th. What a turnout, what a capacity crowd, what history was made with the 11th annual CrossRoads. We're going to give you the full rundown of CrossRoads, including details, match winnings, and so much more. We're going to talk a little bit of Worlds Collide, and I'm very pleased to announce this week's sit-down interview. My guest, I had the privilege of sitting down and interviewing Prince Akkanatan, somebody I've been wanting to interview for the better part of 3 months, believe it or not, but we just couldn't make it happen. Prince is going to sit down and talk about the origins of his career, where the character came from or manifested from, for better term, how he took a time off in the business, how names like Kodiak Bear and Andrew Anderson helped him to learn his craft and get better at things, how he accentuates his positives to not show his weaknesses, and how he's just fortunate and happy to be doing what he wanted to do as a kid, and so much more in between. We're going to talk about his recent win here at CrossRoads 11, which some of you may know through the press release and results that came out on the internet, and so much more. We're going to cover Worlds Collide. We're going to talk a little bit about the big main event, Worlds Collide, December the 5th at the Morgan Jr. Arena. We're going to have TJ Marconi, who is still your Ace Heavyweight Champion. He'll be going one-on-one, with Dan Moff. That's right, the return of the Bayonne badass. Dan Moff will be back in Ace at the Morgan Jr. Arena for Worlds Collide. In addition to that, we can announce for Worlds Collide, Sonny Kiss, the Concrete Rose, will be taking on Anthony Gangone, the Rogue himself, in singles competition. We have the Lucha Gods defending the tag team titles. That's Ultimo Maya and Black Zemis taking on Hollywood Enterprise members, the elder statesman himself, William Wyeth, and his partner, Alvin Alvarez. Mike Orlando has the biggest match of his career in the Ace Arena. He'll be taking on the Puerto Rican powerhouse, Astro Morales, and so much more to be announced in the next coming days and weeks. But I'm going to kick things off here with CrossRoads 11. CrossRoads, of course, the biggest event of the year here for the Ace brand. We had it here at the Morgan Jr. Arena on November the 7th, right here to a capacity crowd. So much buzz, so much hyperbole, and so much emotion going into the 11th annual CrossRoads. In our opening contest, we had Ricky Richards and Mike Donovan, former friends, current enemies, in a knockdown, drag-out fight. Some saying one of the best matches of the night, some saying the best match of the first half. In the end, Ricky Richards was able to punt kick his former friend, partner, and brother, Mike Donovan, to get the 1, 2, and the 3. Hollywood Enterprise had an opportunity at the tag team titles at CrossRoads, much like they will on December the 5th. It was Mike Orlando teaming with Alvin Alvarez in this tandem to take on Maya and Zemis, and a back-and-forth tag team contest where you saw the momentum shift and go into the favor of Hollywood Enterprise. The Lucha Gods were able to steal the victory, if you will, and retain their titles. A bitter grudge match occurred at the Morgan Jr. Arena. It was William Wyeth taking on his former friend in Tiny Johnson, and a match that saw Wyeth totally work and berate the knee of Andrew Tiny Johnson. He was able to prevail with that Johnson Express and get the victory, much to the less desires of one Mike Lewis. Then we had our Fight for Flight contest, which was an all-star battle. Check out this lineup. The champion at the time, Sonny Kiss, defended his title against the debuting Anthony Gangone, the Rogue himself, Joey Adams, All Day Kenny Bengal, Game Changer Aaron Bradley, and Prince Akkanatan. For a moment, we thought that Sonny Kiss was going to retain the title, but Prince Akkanatan was able to steal the victory, and he is your new Fight for Flight champion. And, of course, he'll be here later on to talk about that victory. In singles competition, Impact Wrestling star, former Impact Wrestling heavyweight champion, Eric Young made his debut here at the Morgan Jr. Arena as he had an opportunity for the Diamond Division title with Rob Vegas. And what some are saying was a wrestling clinic, Rob Vegas was able to lock in the checkmate and get the tap-out victory and make Eric Young submit. That saw Rob Vegas retain the Diamond Division title and continue his lengthy reign. We also saw the return of Arcadia in Ace, who is not only returning in Ace, he's making a comeback here in the wrestling business. He took on Azrael in a bit of an old-school contest, but Azrael was able to pick up the victory despite all the shenanigans at the outside, he was able to get that victory. Then we had the Chance of a Lifetime Rumble, where competitors included EC Negro, William Wyeth, Chris Reyes, Lou Torres, Jamal Jackson, and so many more. It came down to Wyeth and F&B Anthony Ramirez, and in the end, I hate to say it, but the fat nasty bastard was able to backfist Wyatt over the top rope, and he is now eligible to cash in and get a title shot against any champion on the Ace roster whenever he so pleases. And then one half of our double main event, we had the innovator of violence, the king of the hardcore, Tommy Dreamer, made his return to Ace and took on TJ Marconi. TJ did everything he could to avoid the hardcore style of Dreamer, but in a match that saw kendo sticks, trash cans, Dr. Pepper, and so much more, amid controversy, we can confirm that TJ Marconi has retained the Ace Heavyweight Championship of the world, but Tommy Dreamer was able to get his hands on the manager, Brooke Danielle, and pile drive her in the center of the ring once the match was over. Tommy, of course, receiving a standing ovation from the crowd both during his entrance and once he exited the ring. And in your main event, for the first time ever in the history of Ace Pro Wrestling, we had the Devil's Outlaw, the Beast of Brutality, the Devil himself, Stockade, and the Puerto Rican Powerhouse finally end their 6-month feud in the first ever casket match here at Ace at CrossRoads 11. In a match that saw, my gosh, chairs, carpet tacks, and cinder blocks. In the end, Astro Morales was able to finally, literally, put Stockade to rest and close the casket door shut on not just Stockade, but on the most brutal rivalry that Ace has had in recent memory. Those, of course, are results from CrossRoads 11. And once again, join us. The Morgan Jr. Arena will be open once again on December the 5th. Saturday night, December the 5th, in your main event, TJ Marconi is going to be squaring off against the Bayonne Badass, Danny Moth. Marconi continued his reign. He made it to CrossRoads 1 year after his debut, where he opened up CrossRoads 10. 1 year later, he's in the main event at CrossRoads, and now he's taken on the toughest of all the challengers. Marconi's been through Vince Steele. He's been through Ricky Reyes from Lucha Underground. He's now been through Tommy Dreamer. But now he's got to get through the Bayonne Badass. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see if Marconi can change up his style. Quite frankly, I think that Brooke Danielle should be banned from ringside. That's just my opinion, of course. But, there is no rule that tarts are not allowed in wrestling. But that remains to be seen. Hopefully I can get to the commissioner about that one. You got to admit here, folks, also, we can confirm that Anthony Gangone will take on Sonny Kiss in singles competition. While Prince Akkanatan was the one that gained the title at CrossRoads, Gangone, many people are saying that he was the standout in that matchup. Now he's taking on the former champion in Kiss. You got to admit, while Sonny is not in the right state of mind since losing the title right now, whoever wins this contest is pretty much guaranteed a shot, a place in the next Fight for Flight title matchup. We also know, again, Astro Morales is going to have his hands tied a bit. He's going to be taking on Mike Orlando, but you got to believe, not only will Mike Lewis be at ringside, but that big hoss, Adam Payne, he's going to be lurking. He's the new heavy for Hollywood Enterprise. So if Astro thought he was going to have it easy after defeating the Devil, he certainly was mistaken. Of course, the tag titles will be on the line, and so many more. We can confirm that EC Negro will be taking on Ricky Reyes from Lucha Underground, as well as many other contests. Again, that's December the 5th at Worlds Collide in the Morgan Jr. Arena, 67 Hathaway Street, Wallington, New Jersey. And it is going to be a fantastic card. I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully my broadcast partner Mikey D will be joining me on the headset. Big shout out to John Hart of the Acecopedia, if you will, for stepping in on a headset for CrossRoads. It was a fantastic event, and it was really a happening. And I'm not just saying this because I'm part of the brand here, folks. I'm saying it because I mean it. If you miss CrossRoads 11, you do not want to miss Worlds Collide. There is a happening. There is a change. There is a movement occurring here for the Ace Nation, and we want everyone to be part of it. Right now is a great time to be a wrestling fan, and it's a great time to be an Ace Wrestling fan. It's also a great time to be an Ice fan, but it's all happening through the Ace Network. Keep hitting the website. Keep hitting the Ace Twitter. That's Twitter at Ace Wrestling. Keep sending in those emails to Ace Wrestling New Jersey at yahoo.com. Keep the fan feedback going. The DVDs are on sale. We will have CrossRoads available at the next show on December the 5th. It's going to be quite the happening. We are so looking forward to closing out the year with a bang. with Worlds Collide. Our next upcoming ice show will be 2 weeks following from there, and it's going to be quite the way to close out the year. I got to say, TJ Marconi impressed the hell out of me when he took on Tommy Dreamer. He was able to hang. He stole another victory, but he was, in fact, able to hang. And some say if it wasn't for the Brooke Danielle, he may not have retained the title, but I got to admit, he was doing quite well. Maybe, if he played a little bit fairer of a ball game, he would have been able to defeat the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer. So we're going to have all these questions and more answered December the 5th, Worlds Collide at the Morgan Jr. Arena. This week's sit-down interview, I'm going to have Prince Akkanatan. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to interview the guy for virtually 3 months, but we weren't able to make it happen. That's when we come back. Let's take a couple of minutes to check out our sponsors on the Studio One Podcast. Always want to be a professional wrestler? Then learn now. Do you want to be a wrestler, manager, commentator, or anything in the business? Then come join the Ace Pro Wrestling Academy. 67 Hathaway Street, Wallington, New Jersey. Learn from the best to be the best. The Ace Pro Wrestling Academy is open. Ace for life.
Wrestling fans, this is Joey Image, your Italian hero, and I am here to announce the grand opening of my brand new ProWrestlingTees.com t-shirt store. Check it out at ProWrestlingTees.com/JoeyImage. Every shirt, $20. Super affordable. You can skip your Starbucks drink for a day and buy a shirt, please. And all proceeds go to the Joey Image Retirement Fund. Again, ProWrestlingTees.com/JoeyImage. Thank you very much. Buy the shirt!
All right, this week I'm extremely excited. Sean Ortiz back here on the Studio One Podcast. We cover a lot of things this week, CrossRoads and so many things in between. But this week it's a sit-down interview. Somebody I've been wanting to interview for a long time here since making their debut for both Ace and Ice here at the Morgan Jr. Arena. This week, my guest, your current Fight for Flight champion, Prince Akkanatan. Sir, it is a pleasure to have you here in Studio One.
Thank you very much, Cheyenne. Pleasure to be here. It's nice to be wanted. Thank you.
It's a pleasure for you to be here and clear up your schedule. How is your travel? Where do you, the Prince, stay these days?
Well, I'm from Egypt, obviously, but I live over in Rutherford. It's not a very long drive at all.
Oh, wow. Why from Egypt to Rutherford? Why such a drastic change?
Oh, whoever will take refugees these days is what you want to... No,
right,
too soon.
I don't want to get into that. I got to say, first off, congratulations on becoming the Fight for Flight champion at CrossRoads 11, biggest show of the year. What a skyrocket you've had since debuting here. Came in, singles competitor, automatically joining the Middle East Imports, a high-profile group, then going solo in a matter of minutes, practically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Making a name for yourself as a singles competitor, and then winning one of the top singles titles.
On the biggest show of the year.
On independent wrestling, on the biggest show. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I needed that too, Cheyenne. I really did. As you know, this can be a roller coaster. Sometimes you feel good about yourself. Sometimes you feel bad about yourself. And I feel great about myself now.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. Are you upset that you did not get to take on the artist known as Prince?
A little bit. Missed opportunity for sure for him, but I think his career will recover. He'll be okay.
Okay. Are you open to defending the title against Prince?
If he's down, sure. I think we should get all the 80s pop stars together and have a Fight for Flight match.
I'd love to see you beat the crap out of Bret Michaels.
Oh, yeah, we'll do Prince Akkanatan versus artist formerly known as Prince versus Bret Michaels versus Biz Markie and Denise Williams. Let's hear it for the boys. So.
Wow. Let's hear it for him. Book that. That is incredible. That sounds more like Dancing with the Stars than it does a five-way or whatever that is. Biz Markie. Oh my God.
He would have shown up if I challenged
him. Yeah, he would have. For $20 and 6 of the empanadas.
I couldn't hit him though.
I gotta ask, as always, as trivial as it is, why wrestling? What made you get into it? What did you see it in Egypt and Rutherford? How does that work out for you?
Actually, I was only born in Egypt. I've lived in America most of my life.
Okay. Are you a citizen?
Who's asking?
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I am here legally. And how wrestling? It's one of those things. It's just this business can ruin people's lives and it can save people's lives, and I think it saved my life to an extent. I loved it. The social aspect. These group of people who will understand why you're doing this when nobody else will, and I originally thought actually I would just be involved in wrestling, not necessarily a wrestler. I thought I could be a manager or maybe a promoter or something.
Really?
Yeah.
So you never want to be not hands-on, I'm not going to say that term, but never physically in the ring when you first started.
It's not that I didn't want to be. I just thought at the time I was much, much heavier. I looked like a big fat wrestling fan, the kind you see in the front row over here.
Well, I've noticed through your Facebook page that you've mentioned that you were, in fact, larger than you are. You had to go through some changes in your life physically.
And, I just didn't have the athleticism right there. And that's why when I wrestle smarter, not necessarily more athletic.
Okay.
But, I just didn't know if I was there. But when I trained, something inside me said, train to be a wrestler, and if it doesn't work out in 3-4 months, you can drop down to be a manager. That's not to minimize being a manager.
Okay, you're still following your dream.
Right. I just wanted to be on the team, basically. And it was, some guys, they get into a wrestling school and they're just naturals. They take a flat back bump without knowing the difference.
Yeah.
And I was certainly not one of those guys, not even close. So it took me a little while, and I did think about just being a manager, but I stayed the course. So everybody defines making it as something else. For me, making it was just having that first match. I'm trying to reset expectations of me so my crappy matches look even better to the fans out there.
Okay. And what we talked about is you work around your negatives and you accentuate your positives. Sure. And you are an extremely entertaining person.
Thank you.
What is the origin of your influence? Was it a wrestler, a moment, a thing? Because you are extremely entertaining as an individual and you transcend that to your character. Is there anybody that did that for you? Is there anybody you studied? Like, what was it to make, or is that naturally you?
To an extent, it's inside of me anyway. It's how I am. It's a product of a lot of different things. I mean, it was on certain events or coming up with other guys who might have wrestled the quote-unquote indie style, and no disrespect, obviously, that's great, the guys that could do that, but I just wanted to give the people something different. I believe in the three-ring circus theory of professional wrestling. If you don't like the clowns, you might like the acrobats, and if you don't like them, you might like the animals. There's something here for everybody.
That's great. I've never heard that before.
I think it was in
that is such, in its simplicity, a great analogy about wrestling.
I think it was in one of Mick Foley's books, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just something different. And TJ Marconi put it good. There's a lot of different flavors of ice cream. They all sell.
Yeah. Some
sell better than others.
Yeah.
And speaking of him, a good parallel. He had his dream match recently with Kevin Nash. For me, there was no set exam. I mean, I've worked with the Iron Sheik, and he managed me a bunch of times.
How was that?
Am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I gotta know.
So I was, I was nervous meeting him. I'm not from Iran, and I play up more Middle Eastern stereotypes, and my voice sounds a little more like him when I do promos than it normally does. And I was nervous what he would think of me. And the first time I met him was a street fair in Brooklyn. So he's literally sitting on a metal folding chair like I'm sitting on right now on a street corner in Brooklyn on a Sunday morning at 10:30, and he's just screaming at Eric Sims, "Eric, you Jim motherfucker! You bring me wrong kinds of beer. I want Molson Ice." I've heard him cut this promo on Molson Ice many times. Bring me Molson Ice, highest alcohol percentage by volume. And I'm jumping around here from story to story. And not only that, I already loved Molson Ice, so we bonded over that. Love Canada. Really, what sparked my interest? Go back to Mick Foley's book. I had the audio book when I would do these long road trips. Before I was in wrestling, I was doing these long road trips to nowhere in particular, and it was on one of those where it's like I have to at least try. I have to at least try and do this. And I'm jumping right back to the dream match aspect. I didn't have a set guy where it's that immediate parallel like TJ and Nash. When I worked Kamala, though,
really,
which was just a thrill for me because just such an over-the-top, larger-than-life character that you knew when you saw Kamala. And obviously, I'm not big like him.
Totally underrated, too.
Yeah, I mean, some of the best facial expressions, and all of him and Paul Bearer were the two greatest when it came to facials. And just that over-the-top character. I'm not big like him or anything like that, but I like to be remembered like that. so the look, the paint, the gold robe, the big gestures, the yelling at people. Hopefully I'll be remembered for something I did, and hopefully something positive, not necessarily, because I couldn't take a back body drop or something like that the correct way, but just to make that impression. And then as I apologize if I'm jumping ahead here.
No, not at all. I'm
as
enthralled.
I get in here, I see certain guys that were around the independent circuit, and they were, some of them I actually met, and they were mentors, and some were sort of heroes, and guys like the Kodiak Bear who trained me.
Wow, there's a name.
Oh, he is my personal hero. If anything I could do to make Prince Akkanatan Kodiak Bear with an accent.
Wow.
Was there. Just
as a person, he's a cool guy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I've heard stories about
absolutely.
him. He's a gem.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish he were around a little more often, but he can't stay in this forever, I guess. And Metal Maniac, his reputation precedes him. Yeah. And obviously, when you're a foreign heel, so to speak, you're gonna run across the Patriot.
Yeah.
And the Patriot was only my 7th match.
Wow.
In Trumbull, Connecticut, in 2008, and. See, that's a very entertaining style. So as I'm just learning, it's almost like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that and call that a match and listen to the people, and you still got paid. Yeah. Well, he got paid, but it was only my 7th match.
So you've been managed by the Sheik. You are acquaintances with him. Your 7th match was the Patriot.
Yeah.
You are dear friends with who in the Northeast is an... I could call him an icon, but he's, if nothing else, a mainstay. Andrew Anderson. Who else is on this resume that you have that we don't know? Kamala.
Are we talking? We're talking about
that you've worked
name guys.
Yeah, drop some names.
Oh yeah. I've been very lucky with that. And I'll give a shout out to Gino Caruso. Thank you, Gino. You, more often than not, he was the one that put me with a lot of the Hall of Famers and things like that. Greg the Hammer Valentine, Jimmy Snuka many times. There were guys before they were famous. Darren Young before he was Darren Young, and Bull Dempsey obviously before he was Bull Dempsey.
Who was a mainstay here?
Yeah.
Tag team with Vince Steele, former world champion.
Robbie E before he was Robbie E, and I'm wrestling Robbie E again next week. Won't plug
we
that
just
too
saw
much.
Robbie E. You and I did.
Yep. Who else? I was Nunzio's first match after the WWE.
I did not know that.
That landed me on his Wikipedia, which I thought was nice.
Okay.
And they spelled my name right. Bastion Booger. And it was funny when I wrestled Jeff Cannonball here a month or two ago. We were talking about obscure names. And
that's the one. That's the one. I would have stuck as Norman the Lunatic.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Greg Valentine, and for some reason Hammer couldn't make it, and they had Booger in town.
Hammer couldn't make it, but they had Booger in town. You could tell they were wrestlers.
You could clip that, put that in the promo for the next week. But yeah, and somebody told me that was his last match. Actually, I have no way to confirm that or not. But
was this before or after the Raw appearance he did in like 07 or 08?
It was shortly after, which was good. Because more people knew who he was and things like that.
That generation is. Of the hokey stuff that we grew up in the 90s, that's going away.
Yeah,
people will never know the magic of the Goon and Abe Knuckleball Schwartz,
And to an extent, hokey is what I do.
Yeah. Now in your training, you said that you weren't the most athletic, and it took you a while to get the bumps. So was it the charisma that you got right away, or were there other how was your training? Because you're very good at it here when you're training at the Morgan Junior Arena, Like, what did you get right away, if anything? Or was it nothing, and what did you get better with over time? What was it?
It's tough because for some reason I just could not bring myself to fall backwards.
Okay.
And as anybody who's got some familiarity with this knows, if you can't get that, you can't build too much else on it. So what am I gonna do? Just take a bunch of hip tosses and that's about it. The charisma does definitely help me. It helps me to these days. When I record and post my own promos on social media, it's another incentive for me to get out there. Book me and you get a Prince promo as well. You get that social media presence. You get more people, more eyeballs on your product because my followers and your followers, they get to see who I am and what I'm gonna do and who I'm gonna wrestle for you. So it's almost like I don't even remember who might have told me. This might have been Anderson. And if it wasn't, I apologize to whoever I'm forgetting told me this. You want to be the best at least one of the things. And the things are, maybe you're got a great look, or you're a big guy. Maybe you're a great talker. Maybe you're a great wrestler. Or maybe you're a memorable character. Be at least one of those things. I've heard you put a score together. Those three things, look, work, and talking. Out of 10, you could be a perfect 30. Nobody's a perfect 30, but you want to at least get in like maybe the low 20s.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I did it, and I just stayed with it, and it helped that there were a lot of good guys I came in with. This guy by the name of Gunnar Trash, who doesn't wrestle anymore.
I know the name though.
Yeah, we came in together. He'll pop up every now and then for Game Changer Wrestling. But yeah, we were like brothers. We kind of just came up together. Our first match was against each other. His first match was against me.
I was just gonna say, so you've had, what was your first match and how'd that go for you?
It was great. It was ECPW used to do birthday parties at the school.
Oh yeah.
So it was a birthday party match. It was a big birthday party though, maybe like 60 people, which is
big by any standards.
Better than some other shows out there.
That's bigger than my birthday party.
Well, I mean, you and me both. And it was great. They only told me that morning, so I didn't really even have a chance to get nervous about it. And it was kind of, we'd been practicing, for the better part of a year. We knew each other very well, and we already knew that we were gonna, do a program together, the blue collar garbage man against the royal evil prince, and it was great. There's a funny story. Smith James, actually, bring him up again. He was in the locker room that day, and somebody's like, "Well, you're Egyptian, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Egyptian." And they're like, "But you're not tan." I'm like, "Do I need to be?" And they're like, "You should be tan." I'm like, "Okay."
Should be.
I should be 10. And, when you're young, you listen to everybody,
of course,
more or less. Unless you're a jerk. And I was, but I still listened. And they're like, well, what you got to do is you got to mix baby oil and iodine together and rub it on yourself and you look 10. No. I still don't know if this was either a rib or I just got the ratio wrong.
Okay.
Because this did not make me 10 at all. And I found...
How did you come out after that?
I found out it's bad form to ask Bull Dempsey, if he'll get this spot on your back. It was not well received.
Okay.
But other than that, it was a good match. I didn't have the gear that I have these days.
Okay.
So, that's gotten
Were
better.
you always Prince from the jump?
From jump.
From the jump.
And it's rare because it's a lot of times other people have said to some of these new guys that you'll never keep your first gimmick. You'll be something else. I've been my first gimmick.
And how many years are you going on now?
Well, I started in 2007, 2008, and I went until the end of 2011, and then I stopped mainly. I came back for one thing here, one thing there.
Why'd you take the time off?
I was a little burned out. I also put a lot of that weight back on.
Okay.
And I hated myself for it. It's just I didn't. It's part of me didn't want to be there. When you were on every ECPW show and every UWF show and whoever else was running, it's just you didn't have that time for yourself. Real life was getting in the way too, and it's and talking about it now makes me kind of want to slap myself. We'll get to that in a minute, because when I came back full time, 2014, end of 2014, I was seeing a girl in Brooklyn at the time.
Okay.
And I saw a poster for an ECPW show. And a lot of guys I knew on there, Andrew Anderson, Frankie Flo, Tony Biella, and I'm like, well, let me go in and say hi. Beforehand, I text Tony Biella, and I'm like, I'm gonna come by. And Tony Billa's like, oh, we're gonna put a belt on you, and we'll put you in the... I'm like, oh, slow down. I haven't even stretched.
Let me get to the door first and see if that blows me up.
Exactly. And it was fine. I just said I'd come down. But then I know what he would tell Gino Caruso. Oh, Prince wants to work, and Prince wants to do... No, Prince don't want to do nothing. So I actually went to Paramus the night before for their other event, and he just settled out. He was cool about it. He's like, oh, we'll actually have you manage Andrew Anderson the next day, because Kevin Sullivan couldn't make it, because let's make people even matter. The name couldn't make it, so here's Prince.
Yeah. The lady of the third eye wanted Prince.
Thank you. And not only that, I had gone to a couple of schools here and there just to work out, kind of keep my hand in it, just to bump around, roll around. I didn't know if I would do anything with it, but as I finally got in, after that managing thing in Brooklyn, I was back at the ECPW school the next Monday, and every Monday thereafter, and a lot of Saturdays, and just putting the time back in and getting to know a lot of guys who have since come to Ace. Aaron Bradley, Kenny Bangle, the Graysons were brand new. They just got in. And just... I kind of, some of my generation was still around. Frankie Flo in particular, I think would have been the closest to a contemporary. But a lot of the guys that I was with in terms of age and experience either stopped wrestling altogether, like Gunner Trash, or they were wrestling other places, like Nicholas K. I'll give a shout out to Nicholas K. And they kind of moved on. So I had clung to these younger guys, and they kept me younger and hungrier, and then, of course, once I started riding with Sonny Kiss, it was off to the races we went. Yeah. Obviously,
talk about that, even though we're kind of breaking that fourth wall a bit.
We are.
Talk about that friendship that you guys have, because you guys are everywhere together in a positive way, and you guys encourage each other so much. That's why I love the Wednesdays, and part of it is because of the bond that you two have. Right. I think that's a great element to the Wednesday training sessions here at the Morgan Junior Arena.
It sure is. And really, you were asking, why I stopped. It's because I didn't have someone like that. And I won't even put that all on Sonny. If I didn't have an Aaron Bradley, if I had an Aaron Bradley back then, if I had a Kenny Bangle back then.
A support system.
Exactly. And I had friends, of course. I had very good friends. A guy by the name of Dave the Wave, who doesn't wrestle anymore, he was there too. He's actually Davey O'Hannon's son, Irish Davey O'Hannon, if that name rings a bell for some of the older fans out there. And it wasn't the same, though. It's the younger crowd is a lot more positive in general. Obviously, they're still wrestlers.
Well, everyone's hungry.
They're still going to talk shit. They're still wrestlers.
That you can't avoid.
You never avoid that. But in general, they're more positive and upbeat and hungrier. Yeah. So it definitely helps out a lot. And not only that, looking back, when I looked at posters and things like that, and I would see certain things where I knew that was my spot. If I didn't quit, that would have been me.
Okay.
I would see, and this is no disrespect to the guys that did fill these spots, because obviously they worked for it, but Big Ben Cromwell main eventing big time wrestling shows against like Jake Roberts. That was tailor made for Prince. What else?
Have you ever worked Jake?
I've not worked Jake Roberts. That's one I really do want to.
That one I think would be. I think he'd have a field day working.
I would love that. And just to pick his brain, especially now that he's, from what I hear, he's clean and everything, and hopefully I can really learn something from him.
That'd be great. You guys
use your pull, Cheyenne. Come on.
little old me. Yeah, I'll fax that in.
I believe it was supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen in I think 2008 or 9. Keith Zimmer. I'll give a shout out to Zimmer. Keith Zimmer was trying to book that, and this was around a time where Jake was not in a good state of. I think this was one of the ones where he was some scandal or something afterwards. But I was still looking forward to it, just to share a ring with him. Where were we going with this? Something about Jake Roberts.
You were supposed to wrestle him.
Oh, yeah.
And Keith Zimmer tried to book it, so what happened?
Oh, nothing really. We just couldn't get it done. Probably put me in there with somebody else.
Okay.
Maybe Snuka again. Or Beefcake. Beefcake wasn't there a lot of times with me too.
Now, what year is it that you come back after the break? What year is that exactly?
End of 2014.
Wow, that's fairly recent.
It was just a little over a year ago.
Wow.
And what a year I've had. Big thanks to everybody that's had me. Of course, thank you to Gino for just letting me walk right back in. Obviously, I still had to work for my spot. I was managing the Iraqi butchers mainly. That was kind of all I was doing for the first month back. But as I was training and getting back in there, and thank you to Keith Zimmer, he would book Gino's shows out in Pennsylvania and upstate New York, so I would wind up on those. And a lot of his guys would be generous here and say green. Okay. And my temperament, I'm patient enough where as long as you're not being a jerk about it, I'll work with you. I'll help you out. So I didn't have a problem with that. So those were some of my first matches back. Riding with Corey Dillinger, who's a good kid. I'd like to see more of him around. And then from there, just like I said, these younger, hungrier guys wanted to branch off into other places. So Warriors of Wrestling, Ace, Ice, Sanctuary, who else we got? UPWA. A lot of great places I wound up for this past year. And hopefully more to come in 2016.
Who else besides Foley influenced you in the business? I have to ask that. Because you've got a veteran mind.
I thank you for saying that.
The mindset. You have a very old school, respectable. The gimmick is old school, and I see that Mick Foley. You're very fast. You're very witty. You're very quick.
Thank you.
I think, honestly, you and I are the funniest guys on Wednesdays. And we're the fastest.
Yeah.
I mean, of course,
Marconi's pretty good, too.
I get blown up when I walk in the ring, but, you guys don't. But, like, who else besides Foley influences you in the business?
Well, in terms of the old school upbringing, that was Bear. That was Kodiak Bear and Gino. Mm-hmm. And to an extent, Crazy Ivan. Crazy Ivan's really helped me out a lot since I've been back. The first time, back in those days, Ivan was much crazier than he is. I don't want to blow up his spot or anything. He's got a reputation to uphold. He'll still make you work for it. And those training sessions, if anybody's ever trained with Crazy Ivan,
What were they like?
Oh.
What was an average training session?
It's hard to explain, but there are moments where you are going to feel this big. It's a very small distance between my thumb and pointer finger. You're going to feel very small, but it helps you. And this is not for everybody. It helped me. Because when you feel so small after making a mistake or after not doing something as well as you can do it, you're not going to forget it. It's going to be ingrained in you because you don't want to feel that shame and you want to not make wrestling look foolish. You don't want to make yourself look foolish. You don't want to make your trainers look foolish. So that, I think, is the root, if I understand it correctly. and Ivan points out when I don't understand things correctly.
It's not to do the same wrong twice.
Exactly.
Basically.
Hopefully not.
In terms of the attire and things of that nature, did you know what it was going to be when you first started? Has it evolved? Will it be grander? Because I feel like because of the premise and where you come from and your culture and your history, it can be so grand. And like, has there ever been a grand Prince Akkanatan entrance? Will there be one? Can you tell the story?
I would love that. I would love to come to the ring on a rickshaw pulled by 4 or 5, stout men. But
that would actually be pretty cool when you get a rickshaw in here. Wow.
I do know some fire dancers, some belly dancers who play around with fire. They spin the gimmicks in the air.
CrossRoads 12. I think we can make it happen.
I hope so. I hope my body holds up till then.
I gotta ask, who are some people that you want to work? First, I'll ask you for my own entertainment because I'm a big old school fan. Legend-wise, besides Jake, who would you like to work? That's working the indies.
This one's a little more obscure. This one surprised people. I want to work the Blue Meanie. I've never worked Meanie.
I could see where it could be entertaining. Will it be a Jack Briscoe, Dory Funk catch-can match?
Or any of my matches.
No, but I can see the entertainment involved. Besides Meanie, who else is there?
Let's see. Still around. Brodus Clay, I know, has been in the area a lot. I haven't had a chance to wrestle him yet.
Have you met him?
I have met him.
He seems like a nice guy. I met him in passing, and he was very sweet.
Yeah. Who else is still around? Boogeyman was supposed to be on a card recently that I was on, and that would have been cool.
I just saw him this weekend at the big event.
Super
nice guy.
Yeah.
He walks in gimmick.
Oh,
imagine trying to pull his ass over.
Oh, boy.
And instead of getting the ID, he pulls the fucking worms out. Imagine. Very nice guy, though. Very nice guy.
I'm trying to think of who else is still around, especially from the era I grew up with. Haku, I guess, is still around.
I just saw Haku at the big event. Yeah. He took a picture with somebody, and they asked me to put in the Tongan death grip.
Oh, that's a mistake.
With my buddy Bosch. And... the iPhones, now you can take 8 pictures at once. So I'm taking the picture, and he was like, if you didn't put that camera out, he would have choked me out for real. He's still got that fucking nerve hold down packed. He's sharp as a tack, that guy. Now, indie-wise, is there anybody else you haven't worked yet? That talents that you see, that you like, that you want to, kind of get your hands dirty with. I think you and TJ Marconi would be.
I would love that.
Tremendously entertaining.
Yeah.
Even you could chop that redwood down.
There's plenty of people right here in Ace that I want to wrestle him. I would love to work with Vince Steele. I would love to.
I'd pay money for that.
Yeah.
You and Steele.
I already got some ideas.
I would pay money for that. Book it, please.
Yes. And Astro, of course. Astro.
Or the Fight for Flight title.
For sure. and Astro would be another one I got to step in the ring with here at Ace. Steve Scott. I would love to wrestle Steve. Funny story about Steve Scott. When I used to book the ECPW student shows, a very young Steve Scott who did not have the selfie gimmick yet. He was just too hot Steve Scott.
Okay.
Little generic.
Little vanilla.
Little vanilla. And I apologize to him all the time when I see him nowadays, because he's one of the few guys we didn't have back who wanted to come back.
Okay.
I just said there wasn't anything there. Keep
We have
working.
nothing for you.
He didn't, everything. Well, that, we'll turn this on its head and make it sound complimentary, because it is. Since then, his work has gotten better, his physique has gotten better, the gimmick is amazing. He's a great, obviously I want to feed off of that star and be in there with him.
Right.
This might be a bit of a cop-out answer, no pun intended, but I would love to wrestle Dick Justice.
Wow.
I wrestled him before he was Dick Justice, but it wasn't quite the same.
Okay.
So, that's sort of a, different answer, but, whoever else. I'm open for anybody.
What is next for Prince Akkanatan here in Ace and Ice? Because the reign of gold.
It sure is
certainly taking over here, and it's certainly. What's next?
I just had my 300th match.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, winning that flight for flight.
That's old school. Nobody knows how many fucking matches.
Oh, I keep track. I keep track of all of it, and it surprises me how many of the young kids I ride with do not keep track. And I'm just thinking, it's easier than ever to keep track. Keep it right on your phone. Start a spreadsheet, something.
Yeah.
And I keep track of all of it. I keep track of who I wrestled, where I wrestled, how much I got paid, if I got paid, who was the referee, everything. Who I rode with. Then someday you're gonna. And I did look back on it when I wasn't wrestling, and part of it was how I missed it. And one day we will look back on this. You asked about what's next, but that jogs my memory to a story that just kind of made me appreciate this even more. We'll bring up the Irish Davey O'Hannon again, because I was great friends with his son. They had me over the house once. When all the old timers came in, we're talking Johnny Rods and Pistol Pete Sanchez and a lot of this is not a shady comment or anything, a lot of the underneath guys from the WWWF days that still live in the area, they were all there hanging out. Oh, and the Doink, Ray Apollo. Oh, my God. Ray Apollo was there. Oh, my goodness, he's a scream. I don't think he wrestles anymore, but if he does, I would love to share a ring with him. I don't think so, but when I saw these older gentlemen, Dick Worley was still there. He was still alive at the time.
There's a name I haven't heard.
Yeah.
In ages.
So these guys who are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, still playing ribs on each other at this kitchen table. I'm just like, I wonder if someday, years from now, I'm going to be at my kitchen table with Jay Santana and CK Cross and whoever else just popping shit and talking about the old days. So it's moments like that keep you going. But as far as what's next, a great reign with this Flight for Flight title. It's my first singles title.
I was just going to say, it is, in fact, your first singles title.
You're right.
Wow.
I've had some tag team titles.
Are you happy it was here in Ace?
I am very happy it was here in Ace. And just...
I think the character could flourish here in ways it didn't before.
I always appreciate that. I love working with whoever will have me, but when someone will take that ball and run with you and actually do things with you, rather than do things with you in a positive way, do things to benefit me in this case. But they're different, a utility guy. I like to just do what's best. Some places will bring me in because their guys are green and they need somebody. I feel weird calling myself a veteran. I mean, I've been around since 2007. I don't know if that makes me a vet or not. I don't really care. But they need that experience edge to get them through things. Or sometimes, recently I was in the ring with a bar owner who was not a wrestler.
Wow.
And I guess it was his building, so this guy had to look good, and I still made him, I made him humble, we'll put it that way. Okay. So there are different reasons to have me out there. But to come here where I'll be appreciated in ways I hadn't been before, and utilized in ways I hadn't been before, it's just great. And like I said, it really helped the confidence, because confidence issues come up and down. Sometimes
people don't get that.
And I think you got to go through it to really understand it. Especially you're out there and you're this jerk off heel that's just yelling at people and saying I'm so great, where sometimes you don't always believe it. It's a roller coaster. Maybe I'm getting a little too deep with this. I don't mean to cry or anything. But it came at the right time. And then for after that, my name appeared on the indie rankings or something like that.
Yeah.
Internet fans hate me. So for me to appear on something like that was just humbling. It was great. It felt great that it's like it finally matters in ways it didn't matter before.
That's good. That's great, man. My guest this week on the sit-down interview, your current Ace Fight for Flight champion, Prince Akkanatan. Whatever. If you'll have me, I'd love to be at that kitchen table one day.
I hope so.
That was awesome. This
Thank
is a
you.
great interview. I appreciate it. More on Studio One when we come back, guys. Don't go away. Always want to be a professional wrestler? Then learn now. Do you want to be a wrestler, manager, commentator, or anything in the business? Then come join the Ace Pro Wrestling Academy. 67 Hathaway Street, Wallington, New Jersey. Learn from the best to be the best. The Ace Pro Wrestling Academy is open. Ace for life.
Wrestling fans, this is Joey Image, your Italian hero, and I am here to announce the grand opening of my brand new ProWrestlingTees.com t-shirt store. Check it out at ProWrestlingTees.com/JoeyImage. Every shirt, $20. Super affordable. You can skip your Starbucks drink for a day and buy a shirt, please. And all proceeds go to the Joey Image Retirement Fund. Again, ProWrestlingTees.com/JoeyImage. Thank you very much. Buy the shirt!
Hello, Ace Nation. This is the Colonel speaking, and normally I'm here to tell you about my $5 fill-ups, but I'm actually here to tell you about a $6 hookup. That's 2 empanadas and 1 soda. You can only get this at the Morgan Jr. Arena at 67 Hathaway Street, Wallington, New Jersey. Come join us on December the 5th for Danny Moff versus TJ Marcone. Also scheduled to appear, Prince Akkanatan, F&B Anthony Ramirez, and so many more. That's 67 Hathaway Street, Wallington, New Jersey for the $6 hookup. That's 2 empanadas and 1 soda. It's finger-licking wrestling. Ace Nation, what an eventful Studio One podcast we have for you this week. We kicked off with a very, very vivid detail of the CrossRoads 11 recap. Then we took it into high gear for this week's interview. Prince Akkanatan, very revealing, another side of our current Fight for Flight champion, and really a very humble and sincere man, but he gets it done in the ring. And then we're going to close things off here. Join us next week where I'm going to have a surprise guest, a very pivotal superstar going in to Worlds Collide on December the 5th at the Morgan Jr. Arena. A special surprise guest will be on Studio One Podcast next week, and that individual will be involved in Worlds Collide in some fashion or another. Ace Nation, thank you for joining us this week. If you're going to say it in Studio One.